Hi, and welcome to my podcast, For Parents. My name is Anne Maxwell, and I'm inviting you to a space where you get to be who you are, not only as a parent, but as the amazing being you actually are. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of For Parents. This one is called Communicating with Your Teens or Your Teenagers. And I have one of my favorite people in the world on this podcast. Her name is Erin Keel. I've known her for, 15, 20 years, something like that, from probably before the birth of her, certainly second and third kids, but and I think even maybe before the birth of her first child. And every time I go in, she has kid stories, and I laugh and laugh and laugh. And she is an extraordinary mom. So, Erin, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that I know about you and one of the things that I love about you is that over the years, you've always been the mom in the neighborhood that all the kids gravitated to. And it was your house that they would come and hang out, and your house that they would come and play. And then when they hit teenage, your house where they would be around the table, like doing their homework and eating pizza and then going home at whatever time that was. And so that's one of the things that I just wanted to ask you a little bit about. What is that, Erin? What is it about you that makes that possible?
The things that these kids love about coming to our house, and I think about myself, is I'm relatable and I'm a straight shooter with these kids. When they are in my house, they are my kids, and I treat them like my kids. They load the dishes, they help me take out the trash. Usually the posse is sitting around the table, but I'm also there when they're asking questions or when they're having their crazy conversations and I'm giggling in the background. They know that I am always there and I'm always listening and I'm always clued in to everything that's going on in their world at that moment, whether it be Ryder and his bike riding posse or Quincy and her, cheer girls, or Brooklyn now who's in college. I always make myself available to be relatable.
Hmm. Yeah. The thing that I've known about you and that I admire so much is really connecting with your child, this capacity to be present with them where they are, like
Yeah.
right now, and the capacity to know that when you say, "How's it going?" and they sort of slide sideways, that you give them the bandwidth to slide sideways and you stay available to them for when they can deal with you directly or respond directly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
And I
yeah.
think a lot of that comes just from my own introspection growing up with a single parent and my mom not having that bandwidth. So I want to be able to have them feel safe and open to telling me what's going on.
Yeah.
But it isn't that, or I would say without expectations of my kids.
That is so cool.
I'm still a parent
Yeah.
and I'm not really just their friend. There are expectations that we have of our kids and there's rules that you follow. But when they are going through all of their things, I kind of put myself back in their shoes. You got to walk a
Mhm.
day in their shoes because you've already been there.
Right.
You already know what's going on.
Well, one of the things that I love about the stories, because when I go and see you, I sit in the chair and I laugh so hard that my sides hurt sometimes. And one of my big things is Eric Erickson's theory of psychosocial development, which encompasses everything, right? Emotional, cognitive, physical, like all that
Yeah.
stuff. And every developmental stage has a task. And in order to move successfully from one stage to the next, you have to complete the task of the stage that you're in. And there's a lot of grace in life. Most of us don't complete all of them on time, and you get redos. The job of an adolescent, the task of an adolescent, is to figure out who they are, not who their moms want them to be or their dads or their coaches or their friends, but really underneath that, who they are and then be true to that. Right? So a lot of times with the raging hormones and the huge body changes and the shift in focus and all that, it can be a really dicey time, a really prickly time. And kids try out a lot of stuff and they say and do a lot of really stupid things. And one of the things that I love about your stories is that I've never heard you judge them. You'll laugh because some of the stuff really is
No, I
dumb.
mean, I think that is just as you go along as a parent, if you don't laugh at
You have
just
to.
the mistakes that they make every day, and I have really good kids, so they're not making like crazy mistakes.
No.
It's, like Quincy, Mom. I'm like, yes, Quincy. Oh, I forgot to tell you that I need 3 dozen donuts at 6:30 this morning for the cheer and the bells team because it's homecoming week. Okay.
Right?
I mean, and what do you do? I just giggle and I'm like, well, you're lucky that the donut shop opens at 3 a.m.
Right.
because we can go get that,
Right, but
or
that's the energy and the kind of story that I love about you is that you do that stuff, you know?
right. And I love doing it. I mean, I don't have the anger, resentment, judgment. You didn't tell me we should have been organized about that. Well, you're a teenager. You're not organized. I mean, I know myself. I'm not very organized. I am, but
Yeah.
I'm not in my own brain. So when they're asking these things, or, Mom, can you help me with my project? When's it due? In 2 hours. Okay.
Right.
What do we need to
Right.
do?
But
I mean, but every teenager does that, and every kid
right.
does that, right?
Right. One of my favorites is my friend that I've known forever. When her son was getting his learner's permit, they're driving down Wadsworth Avenue towards the DMV at dark 30 in the morning. And he turns around to her and says, "Hey, Mom, you wouldn't happen to have a copy of my birth certificate,
Right
would
in
you?"
my pocket, son.
And she goes, "No, actually I don't." Change
I
of
mean, that's
plans. But she laughed. I mean, you either got to laugh or cry.
you have to laugh or cry because, and
Right.
what's funny too about all of these mistakes that I tell Quincy, I'm like, I will be here to help support you and kind of fix your problems, but take note that the next time it happens again, I'm going to kind of be annoyed.
Yeah.
So again, it's not without expectation of my kids and doing everything for them.
So can I just interrupt for a second? What it
Yeah,
is like their brains are did you know that the brain of a person doesn't form until 25 years old?
I
Did you know
know.
that?
Yeah.
And so when they're 15 or 16, their brains aren't formed.
Mhm.
And there are all kinds of wires that get crossed and go haywire. And one of the things that you do by saying, "You know what? I'll do it this time, but if you do it again, I'm going to be a little irritated." You're not judging them for what they just did. You're letting their brains adjust to the fact that that's probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
And maybe it can come up with something else to do. That strikes me as being so much of what parenting is about.
Well, and it's funny because, I have all these clients whose kids go off to college and they don't know how to turn the oven on. They don't know what a mailbox is.
Your
And these
kids
are
and neighbors know how to run a vacuum cleaner from what I've
right. I
heard.
mean, these
Yeah.
are real stories that I hear every day that these kids don't know how to do. That shocks me because my kids know how to do it. They're just really lazy. And with the lazy factor, I just let the consequence happen. Okay,
So say
Quincy,
more.
you're sneezing like mad. Your bedroom is full of dog hair.
Right.
Well, Mom, I'm too tired to vacuum. I'm like, cool. Well, then you get to sneeze all night. But here's the vacuum. I'll drive it into your room for you.
Right.
And so I'll just set it there. Or,
Right.
Ryder, Mom, and this literally happened yesterday. He's on the couch. Mom, hey, Mom. I'm running out. I'm like, yeah, what? Can you give me a glass of water? And I started laughing out loud. I go, really? I'm in my robe, trying to get ready for work, and you're on your phone watching your show. I was like, no, I'm not getting you a glass of water. And I just
Right.
walked out.
Right. But you
But
laughed and you didn't get mad.
I don't get mad because I think it's
I
hilarious.
think it's hilarious too.
I almost feel like they do it to like kind of mess with me to see if I'll actually do it. Because sometimes I will.
And that is the job of a human being in this span, it really is all of us, but to try something out. And if it doesn't work, try something different, right? All they're doing is trying stuff out, and they try a lot of stuff out on you, which I think is hilarious. But sometimes you do it like the mom, I need you to take me to the shopping mall. That story about the shorts?
Oh, and you know how I feel about the mall. They know how I feel about the mall. I do not like the mall.
Right.
But like, oh, yes, okay, fine. But
Right.
kind of also with that into play, and this is my own issue as a working mom, I feel guilty sometimes, because I don't really have time. So then you're like, you kind of give in. You're like, well, I was really busy this week. So, okay, because, I haven't seen you. I'll take you to the mall for your last minute $100 Lulu shorts that you really think you have to have because you're a
That
Kardashian.
aren't gonna be at the mall because size 4 is sold out,
Right.
and that's your size, right.
Yeah, they're not there.
They're not there. Yeah.
And I love the disappointed face when I get there
Right.
because it isn't an I told you so,
Right.
but they know it's I told you so. I'm like, told ya.
Yeah.
As you giggle, told ya. The
Yeah.
size isn't there. But you start to feel guilty a little bit as a full time working parent. Also, the relatability because I am a working parent with my kids and with the other kids, because a lot of the kids around us don't have working moms, but I just make it fun.
Well, one of the things that I love about you that is that in addition to making it fun, you ask them to help you out. Like, you
Mhm.
ask them to contribute, like, all the posse, the homework posse or
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheer posse or whatever,
Yeah.
whichever posse's around the dining room table. Back when you reopened in your place right now, you were gone from the house pretty much 24/7, it seemed like.
24/7. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember you telling me about a phone call where you said, "Look, you guys, somebody needs to vacuum, somebody needs to take out the trash, dishes
Mhm.
need to be done," like, boom, 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 and they did it. They love you.
Yeah. When I ask for it, they know my little it's called my desperation voice. When I have my
Parents take note,
desperation voice,
parents take note.
when you're just like, "Please help me, like, I can't do anymore," and you're, like, on the verge of not just tears, but pure collapse.
Right.
So, they know when I'm at that point,
But that's that connection that you have with them
and
and
they
that they
step
have
up.
with
Yeah,
you. They do step up.
they step up. And you know what's really cool too? Their friends step up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I am the mom who drives and picks up at midnight. I am the one who takes everyone to practice. I'm the one who makes sure the snacks are there for the kids when they walk from school for lunch. We're a block away from the school. Why wouldn't you come to our house?
Right.
And they all have that mutual respect at our house. They know the
Right.
rules. They know, you know, it's just really cool to hang out with all these kids because you learn so much.
Boom. You do. And that's another quality that I absolutely love about you is you just love being around kids, I think.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
I absolutely
And
love
there
them.
is a mutual exchange. I learn so much about every kid that I ever meet, talk to like
Yeah,
that. And one of the nice things about knowing that you learn so much from kids and about the kids is this innate sense of curiosity that you have that infiltrates every other area of your life.
it
Right? It's
does.
like, "Huh, I wonder about this, and I wonder about this," and
Well, and it expands your parental role
yeah,
into a different level of interaction with these kids. I'm helping Quincy do this whole fundraising thing. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to do your sign up genius. And mind you, again, this is why I love kids because not only are they showing you what is actually happening coolness wise around their circles and around that age, but they're helping you also learn other technologies and all the
mhm,
stuff that we don't. I mean, I don't know any of it. So it's really
right,
fun to have them sit down with me and be like, all right, Mrs. Keel, which I'm
yeah,
like, please don't call me Mrs. Keel, but okay. Whether it be a TikTok, whether it be, I don't know, they're just really cool to hang out with.
yeah,
Mind you, and I learned how to put bike pedals on. Yes, or this weekend.
right,
Yeah, the boys taught me how to use, the little bike pedal
yeah,
tool. thing, and it was really awesome.
Can I ask you a question? When you were little, when you were growing up, you mentioned that you wanted to give to your kids what you didn't necessarily receive. I get that having been raised by a single mom was taxing on her and taxing on you, and yet was there a connection between the 2 of you?
No.
No, okay. Did you have a
N
connection with any other adult in your life?
I had a lot of connections
Oh,
with
your aunt or
my
grandma or
aunt
great
my aunt, but also I had a lot of neighborhood moms
okay,
that
boom.
took me
There
in
you go.
and treated me how I'm treating all these kids, how it is at
Okay.
our house. I would spend the night at my friend Sean's house for 3 days at a time, and I was expected to help with the dishes,
So cool. I had no
trash.
idea.
So there were other parents that parented me,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
mom just wasn't capable. I mean, she isn't,
Right.
and it's,
It's
you
just
get
the way it
past the
was.
point, it's just the way it was. It is what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. It's one of the things that as a therapist, I really sort of balk at when people talk about, "Oh my god, it was so hard for them because they grew up and their parents were X, Y, or Z, whatever bad thing it was." And it's like, "No, wait a minute. There are lots of other people out there and lots of other adults, lots of other caregivers, people who are nurturing like for
Yeah,
the wealthy who have nannies. A lot of times the nannies are the ones where that real emotional
right.
connection occurs. And the fact that you are that with your kids says to me that you got that somewhere.
I know exactly who those people were
Right.
and where they helped put me on that right path.
Yeah. And you can provide that for kids who may not
Yeah,
have that currently. Yeah. Yeah.
it was really important. Those people are super important in my life.
Yeah. So, just to kind of summarize a little bit of what we've been talking about, one of the things that you do that I love is that you ask questions you're curious about. Like, I don't know that you actually formulate a question, but that's how you function. Like, what is this? What's going on here? And you have sort of this
Yeah,
intuitive sense that's driven by curiosity and by kindness and by genuine caring for these kids
yeah.
and a lack of judgment. You'll laugh when your tween says, "Hey, mom, 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 mom," and you come running, "Can you get me a glass of juice? Glass of water?" It's like,
I mean,
"Mm-mm."
you would think it was life or death.
I know,
I always say,
right?
I'm like, "Are you broken? Are you bleeding? Like what?
Your finger's broken. Did you break your leg?
Are you
Right?
attached?"
But your response is, information for his brain that, well, that didn't work again for the 18th time because 'cause you've told me
At
that
least
stories
the
multiple
18th
times, and
time,
it's
yeah.
always a different thing in the glass, but it's, "Hey, mom, will you get me a
Right.
drink?" Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I have to tell you my idea that I just came up with this morning about the driver's ed.
What?
Okay, I'm gonna make a TikTok and I'm gonna take the permit learner book and be like, hey, passing on the right hand side, is it a double white line, or a yellow line? A, B, C, or D? See, you could do that. You could literally do entire driver's ed on TikTok. Just
And there
saying.
you go, and I know there are a lot of kids and a lot of parents out there that are just waiting for that, Erin Keel. You go,
I'm
girl.
telling you, like, what a better way to learn your driver's ed than on
Exactly, and
TikTok.
then the other thing overarching all of this is this incredible sense of humor.
Yeah, if you don't have it, you're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and the other thing that I love about you is you laugh at yourself. You say, "Oh my god, you know
Oh
what
my
I
god,
just
I
did?"
laugh at myself every day.
Yeah, incredible qualities to have.
I mean, I'm a piece of work in myself, so I can only imagine, like, my kids.
Well, and that's like a childlike quality to be able to laugh at yourself. Kids do that. They think they're really, they'll do something funny
They
and
think
then
they're
they'll laugh.
funny.
They think they're
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. It's wonderful to see that not having been pounded out of you.
Well, every day is a good day. I
Right?
mean, every day is a good day, and, people kinda go through their phases, even your kids go
Yeah.
through those really intense phases where they're upset and stressed, and we try to break it down a little bit simpler
Mhm.
in an underdeveloped mind, as you say. How do you just focus on that one little piece? Because we all do go from A to Z and we don't want to do the stuff in between.
Mhm.
You gotta
It's
go
the
B,
journey.
C, D,
Yeah.
the journey.
Yeah.
And I have to, as a parent, especially where I'm at now in my life, be a learner and be, I always strive to be a better parent every single day.
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so, so much for being on this with me. I'm so grateful for you.
I'm
And
so grateful for you.
for those of you that live in the Denver metro area, we're going to put Erin's website as a clickable link on the blog post. And Erin, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay,
Okay.
enjoy your weekend.
You too. And I
All
look forward to
right.
seeing you again when I do.
Okay. Bye,
Okay.
honey.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like, you can connect with me below in the comments section. And if you'd like more information about me, please go to my website at www.annemaxwelllcsw.com.